back, the Dana Lee Project. And as you can see, I'm solo today. I am missing my Mandy. I love our conversations. And sometimes what happens is the tech gremlins get in our way, and she had an internet outage and couldn't contribute to the conversation today. We are going to continue our menopause for the month of May, but of course it doesn't matter when you're watching this video. It could be months from now. This is still going to be very relevant because what we're talking about today is fitness after 40 and how exercise or working out can either help your menopause or it can hinder it and leave you feeling in more pain and more frustrated. So I did decide, all right, I will continue the conversation without Mandy today since fitness is in my wheelhouse. I've been a trainer for 30 years. I started right out of high school and before I even began my college degree, exercise physiology and all of that. So I know fitness through my 20s, through my 30s, through my 40s. I'm nearing the end of my 40s. I'm now 49 years old, very proud. And I feel so good about being this strong, and I continue to see improvements in my body because I have decided years ago to start shifting my training. So there's so much I can say about the impacts of fitness on our bodies. It's not just an aging thing. I do believe that it's in alignment with how your hormones start to change. And for every woman, that is different. It does. So that part isn't so much age related as it is individual to the makeup in your body. There are definitely younger women that I train in their 20s and their 30s. They have no interest in boot camp style classes or like CrossFit or an Orange Theory or these like, what's known as HIIT, high intensity interval training. It is not good for their nervous system. And that could be because of some trauma, fight, flight, freeze responses that they had been through earlier in their lives at maybe different periods. Maybe they had gone through some challenging times. And how you exercise, it's like your nervous system can't handle it. And I know for me, a couple things I want to say about that. One is that I did go through a period of time that I lost a business that was near and dear to my heart, and I put blood, sweat, and tears into that business, and it was just the perfect storm with the recession. So it literally, I felt like had to be ripped away from me because I was just hanging on with all my might, white knuckling, hanging on by my fingernails. And it was devastating when I actually had to come to terms with like leaving that business behind and transferring, I reinvented myself, so moved online and now I can see the sequence and understand all of it. But the reality is it took 10 years after that point to recover my nervous system. So there are absolutely hormones involved with that. And then coming into what we're learning more about perimenopause and symptoms and changes in estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and how that actually manifests physically in your body. So I already started changing my training when I was in my early 40s because of what I had gone through with losing my business. I was finding that a lot of the drills of like teaching step and spinning and kickboxing, it didn't feel good anymore. It actually my joints started hurting me, and I was like, I'm still very young for that. So it didn't make complete sense. Now it makes more sense because I now see that, okay, there was a change in some hormones and it does affect your connective tissue. But I didn't have this kind of like go-getter attitude about over-exercising either. So a few things had started falling in place and aligning, with my choice to train differently. So if there's a few things I'm going to talk about with fitness over 40 and the impacts of menopause, and how how you can find ways to move at this stage of your life and give yourself lots of grace and compassion, more than you ever have before, perhaps. And that can be part of your own formula. So you've got to find what is going to work for you. But what I will say across the board, and I don't usually say this, I mean, I certainly don't say this about food. I help women heal their relationship with food and with their bodies. I'm kind of I'm more of like a life coach, because it really has to do with integrating your relationship with so much around you, your intimate relationships, your relationship with your career, all those things. And by the way, the side effect from that is a different relationship with exercise, a different relationship with food, much more peaceful, calm, normal, enjoyable, if you will, a different way of looking at that. So if that is of interest to you and you want to dive in deeper with that, because there may be decades behind you, you're just sick of on and off the diet roller coaster, and it's really, you can't even think about dieting again, but whatever it is you're doing right now is not working and it feels, maybe even feel defeated about it, I'm the girl to talk to, or Mandy's the girl to talk to, because we have a lot of compassion and sympathy for going through something like that, and no one around you and your family necessarily can relate. So we would love to talk to you about that. I'll leave a link below this video in case you're interested in talking with Mandy one-on-one. So fitness is something, what I will say about this is, I believe every woman over 40 needs to be weight training. It is how we build our bones. It is how you maintain strong muscles, your skeletal muscles. And it's how you actually start to stave off any dementia, Alzheimer's that could be seeping in earlier. Now there is science backing between having strong legs, believe it or not, doing squats and having strong legs, and that having a positive impact on brain health and memory. That's very fascinating to me, but the more I think about it, it actually does make a lot of sense, because the more confident you are in your balance and stability, being able to get up off of the chair, walk downstairs, even if you end up tripping over a curb and you can recover without falling, that does help your brain be able to predict that you're safe, you're going to be safe. It's okay, I'm safe, because there's a connection with, I have strong legs. So with some of that breaking down, if you don't have a good balance or don't have strong legs, then what ends up happening is the brain is affected with the overall breakdown of a little bit more fear setting in, apprehension. And I do believe the less you do, the less you do. So I am committed to moving my body in all different possible ways that I can, because I care about being able to say yes to life. I want to get out, and if we're traveling, Steve and I are somewhere and we're traveling with friends and there's an excursion or some way we can explore wherever we are at, I want to be able to say yes to that without any hesitation that my physical ability is going to be an issue and hold me back. So strength training is my staple. It is something that I do for myself 3 times a week. Sometimes I do a fourth as like a bonus. Now that it's getting a little bit warmer out, I'm a little more inspired. I tend to want to get a fourth day in. I will get out and walk, definitely. So the walking, the strength training, the type of strength training that you do as a woman is really important. I believe in weaving in a cardio component in how you're strength training. So I do more interval training, but not like high intensity interval training like I used to do back in the day, where I just like push myself to the max. And, I still do interval training and I still move quickly from exercise to exercise, and this is how I train my clients. But the movements that we're doing are more mobility focused, where we are improving the range of motion in ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, your spine. So as you're moving and increasing mobility there, at the same time strengthening. So there's a little flexibility and a stretch going on, but there's also some strengthening going on. And this is how you're going to keep yourself vital and young and feeling as good as possible as your connective tissue is changing with hormone fluctuations in perimenopause, going into menopause and even postmenopause. So strength training is one of those staples that can really keep you injury free and can diminish the pain. I've had so many women training with me over this last year or so, couple years in studio. I'm pointing back here because my studio is on the other side of my wall here. And the way I train them is how I like to train myself. And what they have told me is that when they are coming, they don't have back pain. When they are coming, they don't have knee pain. Now, once in a while, those things will come up. But as I said in my previous video, I look at physical body stuff going on through the mind body connection. Whatever's happening in your knee, your hip, your ankle, maybe recurring issues with the shoulder. Yes, we want to look at hormones and the physicality of what's happening in your body and some changes and fluctuations there. We also need to integrate, where is the mind and the emotions at, and what's going on there, that maybe there are things you have gone through that you have not addressed, you're not processing, you're not admitting. Maybe there's you're almost lying to yourself or cutting something off of, like, I don't even want to look at that, I don't want to see it, I don't want to address it, I'm just going to put that thing that I don't really want to be honest with myself about, and I'm going to put it in this little box and I'm put it up on the shelf and not worry about it. It has its way to seep back in, because mind body really should be one word. You can't have a body without the mind and the mind without the body. There's a communication there. And as Naomi Watts brilliantly said, your body hears everything that your mind says. So it's like a echo of that. So if there's something happening in your knees and your hips and it's repeated, yes, we want to strength train and we want to stretch and we want to do these different modalities, perhaps yoga, perhaps some walking. But we also want to address the emotional stuff and the mental stuff that is going on that perhaps you haven't addressed. So what I will say about perimenopause and menopause is, this is a time in a woman's life that sometimes you are just forced. Your hands are forced, because the pain and discomfort of these symptoms it just grows to the point that they cannot be ignored. So you have to start taking care of yourself differently. That pounding of the pavement and running no longer maybe feels good anymore. And it's like, oh, well, it doesn't work for me. Perhaps that means, oh, well, I used to be able to run and lose weight, and now you'll run and it's not affecting you at all. And I believe there's an interesting thing that'll happen, though. Again, if you are ignoring the mental, emotional stuff you've gone through in your life, you're going to get to a certain point that you'll be forced to uncover and keep searching for answers until you understand that it is an integration of mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. All four of those things must be part of the solution. Can't dump all of the physical stuff on just like, this is why so many, like, you have blood work done when you're in perimenopause and they're like, you're fine, we don't see anything, but your symptoms are real. What you're experiencing, the pain in your joints, is real. You can have an MRI, nothing shows up. because I believe in all the years of the work that I've done with helping women heal their relationship with food. It's just been proven to me time and time again as I work with women individually and even in a group setting. And we come together as a collective of women and we talk about what's going on in our lives. You can't just extract. It's just like, honestly, when I think about lifting, you can't ever isolate a muscle group. It doesn't work that way. So, why would you be able to isolate just physical things if you have pain in your body and discomfort, just the physical thing, without addressing the other elements? So the same thing happens with lifting. Oh, I'm going to do like concentration curls for biceps. There's just no way because you have to grip the dumbbell. You have all the muscles in your hands. You have all the muscles in your forearms. You even have some shoulder engagement, even if you try not to. If you've ever gone to the Bodies exhibit, I went in New York City. It was years ago, but that was incredible because it did pull out, if you like a guy shooting a basket into for basketball is shooting a ball into the net, and it showed all of the activated muscles in his body to be able to perform that. Friggin' mind-blowing, incredible. So you can't isolate just one thing. It Everything in nature happens in conjunction with. You can't isolate a supplement. I'm just going to take vitamin C, for example. It doesn't work that way either. They work in unison and in groups in collaboration. Which makes me think also us as women to think, oh, I got this. I'm gonna figure this out alone. Perhaps you're having a lot of symptoms because now is the time for you to connect with other women and find a tribe, not to commiserate, but more to like heal, more to really get your needs met at this stage of your life. Um, so maybe we just need a little more reframing of what perimenopause, menopause symptoms have to teach us instead of, oh, this sucks, getting old sucks. I just look at it differently. I appreciate I'm going to be 49 this year. I'm not afraid of getting older. I still care about how I look, how I feel, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my sister, my family, my friends, my clients. But I'm more of like this expansion and excitement of, wow, my best years are even yet to come. So there's a different attitude I have about what is this here to teach me, and that I'm kind of excited that my kickboxing days are over. I don't care anymore. I don't care about cardio drills, excessive cardio. It's just it it doesn't feel good in my body. And I mean, the science is proving it's like more of anything is not better. More is not better. Better is better. So I actually just went for a cardio workup, blood work and all this. There's just this really cool program, Captain Bugio. It's offered to firefighters, at least in the state of New Jersey. I'm not sure where else, but it was formed because this firefighter ended up having a heart attack on scene, and it was totally preventable. So his wife and, or at least this is how I understand how it came to be, his wife formed this organization to make sure all firefighters and their spouses have access to a cardiac exam. So full on, I got my circulation checked, I did a stress test, my vision, my breathing capacity, and all of that stuff. I go back at the end of the month to get review all of those results. But it's interesting because, you know, it did take a while on that treadmill for my heart rate to come up. It's not like that stress test was not very stressful for me. And I don't do separated out cardio. My cardio is pushing myself in how I'm strength training, and I get strong. I am taking a few supplements. What I will share is I do take creatine and I do take collagen. And it's because I want to make sure I'm fully supported as my body is changing. And it is pretty cool to hear. Like I heard about creatine years ago when I first started in the 90s, but typically bodybuilders would take it, you know. And now there's other benefits that are being proven even for women. And, you know, and I'm like, I'm getting pretty damn strong, you know, curling 30 pounds of my biceps and, you know, even my clean and press, like 30 pounds overhead. So I'm like, and yeah, that taxes my cardio system. Like I'm lifting heavy, but it's like some of these bigger compound moves, keeping my shoulder nice and healthy with the shoulder rotation, doing a lot of rotator cuff stuff, hip mobility stuff with hip circles and hinge movements, and so stretching and strengthening and those kinds of things. So I am also, my supplements are part of basically enhancing and making sure that I'm feeling as good as possible. So, you know, you've got to, as far as the supplements are concerned, that is something, again, unique. You know, your what your body needs may be different than what my body needs. So I, you know, had some pain in my legs and I needed to figure some of that out. So I started taking turmeric, and also found out that I was deficient in potassium. And since I had been supplementing with potassium, that has eliminated some of this like isolated leg pain that I was having. That was very strange. But since I've been taking that, everything's been awesome. And if I forget to take it, I know it because my legs will tell me. So it was like, wow, because I thought, do I really need this? You know? But a couple times I had forgotten to take it a while ago. I no longer forget. Here's the other thing that has happened. Like you may, and maybe this happens to you, like, oh yeah, I want to take supplements, but I don't always remember. What if going through perimenopause and menopause is part of, like, it ends up becoming so important that the priority of consistency with your true self-care and to like just really making sure that your body gets what you need, your mind gets what you need, you're really taken care of. We are, Mandy and I are going to talk about this in the next episode here at the Dana Lee Project of your self-image and self-worth and what happens in menopause that impacts that. So some of it is that if you believe you are worthy of feeling better, if you believe you deserve to feel good, you will remember to take the supplements because they're part of feeling good. But typically, women are used to putting themselves last. So everyone else is taken care of, and don't worry about me. So it's almost like you have to, along with your strength training and picking up dumbbells, the other muscle that you have to practice using is your self-care muscle, like even getting comfortable with caring about yourself and caring for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. And sometimes when I work with women, they get through this, they've got to stomp their feet and pound their hands. And Dana, why does it have to be me? What? Get it out of your system, because everybody's on their own journey, and just no one's going to save you. No one's going to come and save you. You have to take personal responsibility how you want to fucking live your life. And the good thing about perimenopause is because of the dips in estrogen and your brain connected to, oh, you're not really releasing an egg anymore. And now the brain is still trying to function and find. And so other things are happening. Along with that, you do shift into giving less fucks. You give less eggs. With those eggs, you give less fucks. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. It's about fucking time. So this is about you taking charge of your life and creating boundaries. Again, I have a group program. I don't really chase after those women and the whole like, oh, I need accountability. this is your life. You have to want it. You have to want to come. I'm responsible to my clients. I'm not responsible for them. And they have to want it for themselves. And until that switch flips for you, all the pushing and the accountability in the world is not going to really make that much of a difference. It has to come from within. Remembering to take your supplements has to come from within. Wanting to drink the adequate amount of water has to come from within. You have to hit that threshold of enough is enough. And if you're not there, again, my mentorship program is fucking phenomenal with that, because it helps to build the case to help you get there in a pretty short amount of time, actually, within a year. If you think about decades of just trying to put yourself first, but it never really actually happens. So even your exercise program, like reaching out, like if you're local to me, I'd love to have you come work out with me. If you are not local to Butler, New Jersey, see what you can find to plug in to a community so you feel more comfortable getting the guidance on how to lift properly so you don't get hurt, and that you can relate to the other people in that gym atmosphere. So most of the ladies that come to me don't want to go to a gym. They have no interest in going to a gym. My place is pretty unique like that. It's a private studio and it's women only. So it's very appealing to the clients that come to me, because they are also at that stage in their life that they want the community of women. That's how we thrive. And we have so much fun. We play awesome music and there's banter. We bust each other's chops. And I design the workout specifically for women to integrate the strength training, mobility, some flexibility, all of the range of motion, and just the overall like mental and emotional support that they can plug into as soon as they walk in my door. And sometimes they walk in and I can see it on their face and I'm like, do you need a hug today? And then it's like the waterworks. So it's a place that they can come and truly be themselves. And that is something that I highly encourage you find for yourself. And no one's going to just hand it to you per se. There could be opportunities right under your nose. It's just you haven't been open to receiving the opportunities, because it really does come down to a self-worth issue. And Mandy and I are going to talk about that in greater depth next week. So I think that's all I have to say about fitness over 40. And if working out helps menopause or hurts menopause, not exercising hurts. Cardio alone will hurt. Any one thing you're doing alone is going to hurt. You want an integration of different movements. You want to find the balance of exercise and rest. Here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with, is the rest component. And if there's guilt that comes up around, I have a hard time taking time off, I feel guilty if I'm resting, doing nothing, I can't just sit around and do nothing, but if I go, then my body's paying for it, my back hurts, my hips hurt. Let's talk. Because there's something else running the show behind what's physically manifesting in the body and what's showing up there. And if you have a hard time taking a rest, you're going to be pushed up against that, where sometimes that is why the injury occurs and that is why the sickness happens, because otherwise you wouldn't feel worthy of taking the rest regardless. But if you're injured or sick, oh, well, that's good reason. So because I'm sick, okay, I'll take time off. And meanwhile, like, you get pissed that you're sick, right? Am I right? So perhaps shifting into perimenopause and menopause, it's a transition in life. And now is the time for you to take a look at exercise, how you're eating, how you're supplementing, as a way of taking the best care of yourself that you've ever done in your entire life in a whole new way. Prioritizing sleep, really seeking out and getting answers for what's going on in your body, advocating for yourself in a way you have never done before in your entire life. And when that happens, beautiful things come from that. And you have decades ahead of you to be living your most awesome life. So how long do you want to struggle in that perimenopause, menopause decade? Like it can go on for years for some women, and for others, not so much. So one of the things I'll say to myself is, okay, if I'm going through this challenge, let me get the lesson. Please let me get the lesson. What is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? And every shitty situation turns around to be like, I know why that happened now. That makes so much sense. And I always feel better off by looking at life that way, and not in like a toxic positivity way either, in a legitimate, now I understand kind of way. And that is so freeing and so empowering. So thanks for tuning into today's episode at the Dana Lee Project. Make sure you like, subscribe. I love to hear your comments, share below. And, we'll be talking more about menopause. Next episode's going to be specifically around self-worth and how these changes and this transition in life can impact how we feel about ourselves. And Mandy and I